What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back here on the Film Guy Network for another fabulous hour. Speaking of fabulous, shout out to our friends over at Bird Dog. Make sure you're using promo code FGN over there and getting that free hat with any purchase. Appreciate you guys for being here with us. All right, so we are 10 practices. Went by quick, didn't it, boys? We are 10 practices through spring ball at the University of Georgia. Prior to spring practice kicking off, we had a big-time depth chart episode, if you will, on this network. Today, we felt necessary to go position by position and not only give you an updated depth chart, but also give you a little bit of intel and kind of a refresher on everything that's been going on at spring practice for the University of Georgia. Big time for the Bulldogs right about now. No position more important than the quarterback position. Let's start with QBs. Hey, everybody in the chat, make fun of Brooks' handwriting today.
Don't do
so make sure you're doing that. Huh?
Camera two's
bugging with you? It's all right. Let's put a little bit more on that board. We'll figure out a way to get that nice and tight. All right, numero uno. And I know going into spring practice, there was some rumblings as to whether or not there would be a quarterback battle. All it took was some routes on air from Ryan Puglisi from video from 18 months ago of him up there. But despite all of Georgia Bulldog Twitter on social media, it is going to be Gunnar Stockton's job. Everything we've heard says it's going to be his. Had a really, really good scrimmage. Let's not call it really, really good. Had a good scrimmage in scrimmage one this past weekend. Really controlled the offense. Didn't turn the football over. Everything looks really, really solid at the quarterback position. Also, already developed a pretty good relationship. All right, big enough. We're going to go position by position. Not a big deal. Keep us in 3. But anyways, had a really good rapport already with Zachariah Branch. So that's good news there. Number 2, Ryan Puglisi. Now, I am excited and bullish on what's going to ultimately happen when Ryan actually I think it's a big year for mop-up duty time for Ryan to actually get onto the field, play meaningful snaps, or at least have an opportunity to play live snaps in a live game situation. Problem is, I don't know if the schedule really presents that many opportunities. It's the same schedule as last year, and we saw a lot of young guys didn't get a lot of reps last year. It really impacted the development.
Well, we all talked about that as well. The games where you thought that there would be more opportunities, there weren't that. Like UMass, you had starters in start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like you gave up 200 rushing yards. Like if you need experience, that's part of the reason why they didn't get as much last year.
Didn't handle business.
You had a fourth quarter game against Kentucky, a team you usually beat pretty well. So
got to handle business. Got to get these young guys some developmental reps in real-time play. Excited to see what this looks like during the G-Day scrimmage. Everything we've heard is, hey, looks like he's going to be a superstar when he's down there on scout team, gets to play free. As soon as we get him down here running our offense, things seem to slow down a little bit, still thinking while he's playing. Number 3, the walk-on. Our man Colton. Now, I've been told this is pronounced Jen. Colton Jen out of Peach County High School. Now, I say this every time we talk about Colton. Has no business being a walk-on at the University of Georgia. Probably should be playing some mid-major program somewhere. 6'4", 225 pounds. Looks gorgeous.
He just loves that G.
Every source that walks out there that's a booster is like, hey, who the hell is 17? Where did he come from? All right, that's what he looks like at the quarterback position. He's that good. Now, number 4 right now is Hezekiah Melander because Ryan Montgomery is not available. However, if everyone were healthy, I would assume the scholarship guy that was a top 200 player is probably right here in that number 4 position, followed quickly by number 5, who is nicknamed Buddha at the University of Georgia, our man Hezekiah. Okay. Now, I haven't gotten to the Old Testament portion of Hezekiah, but I would imagine it's a biblical name.
Yeah.
All right, our man Hezekiah. So that is the quarterback board currently right now. Now, should we talk about 2026 or we got plenty to talk about now? What the room could look like, who might be adding into, I think we've talked plenty about.
I think talk about 2026.
All right, we're just going to bog the whole segment up.
Such a can of worms.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's what the room looks like right now. I'm going to tell you, come August, apart from an additional transfer who they may be in the market for. Okay, just if there is a guy that wants to come in and be a backup, they might take the body, okay? Because if this guy gets hurt, I don't know if there's still championship caliber behind that. Right now, today, that might be a different answer come August when we actually get 5 more practices, a spring game, all summer, and fall camp from Ryan Puglisi. Still a very promising prospect that's getting better by the hour at the University of Georgia. And immensely talented. All right, so there's a good picture of the quarterbacks room. Let's delete this and let's go ahead and start talking about running backs. All right, running back, number 1, nice and clean, Nate Frazier. Okay. After that, we're going to put Cash Jones in at the number 2 spot still. Number 3, we're going to split duties. Okay. I know Bo Walker has had plenty of love this spring. Enough love to go from number 4 to a split carry on number 3.
So I'm assuming that this is Rod Robinson and
right here in my notes from I did this last night at 1 o'clock in the morning. Right here it says, need to send out text about Branson and Rod to see where they're at. I don't know where they're at in terms of development, right?
Okay, so this is basically if
who's
Georgia,
available
if
right
Georgia
now.
Played a game
play tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
This is it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. And here's the deal. Go ahead, Jonathan. I haven't heard anybody mention Branson or Roderick during practice observations when I'm getting them from sources. So if were they out, you got some intel on practice?
When I was at his press conference on Thursday, he said that they're really not working with the team. They're still doing individual things.
Okay, so good update right there from Jonathan. Now, the real wild card here, and I know he's taking reps this spring back at running back, is Dylan Bell. Okay, so Dylan Bell is going to get some run here. Also, another wild card who I know that I've heard good things about this spring that isn't really a running back, he's more of a weapon, is Dwight Phillips. Okay, I've heard multiple people coming back from practice saying, damn, now whoever number 20 is, I think he wears 20, whoever number 20 is, keeps making explosive plays. They're finding ways to get him the football, especially downfield. Also a guy that, he plays running back, but that was a high school wide receiver first 2 years of high school. If you watch him, he's got slot receiver tape. He's got slot receiver hands and route running ability as well. So that is a weapon to be paying attention to. Any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns about running back, boys?
It looks like now, just will you do me a favor and just write Rod Robin?
Yeah, we'll put the Robinsons.
So I can look at it visually. It looks like you have 2 or 3 true ball carrier running back guys. And then a couple of really gadget specific, we're going to use them for this type of thing. And I'm very interested at how Mike Bobo will utilize these guys.
I would say you have 3 traditional ball carriers. Okay, on first and second down, I think Nate Frazier could be out there, Chauncey Bowens could be out there, Bo Walker could be out there. I think when I look at them offensively, Cash Jones is a third down back. Okay, when I look at them offensively, Dylan Bell is a gadget back. If we're putting him back there, he's an imposter. It's for a reason. We're trying to get an explosive with it. Same thing with Dwight Phillips. I'm with you. But I would add Chauncey Bowens into that equation of that dude can get out there and tote the rock first and second down.
And obviously Rod and Branson are traditional backs when they get healthy.
When they get
they're
healthy.
available at this point.
All right. So we'll put a big bracket around them, big TBD. I think this room stays intact, though. I think it's good news. All right. Let's go on to our tight end position. Okay. Now, I paired these in pairs. Okay. So the first pair, all right, is obvious. It's Oscar and it's Lawson. Okay. The second pair right now, if I were to go out to practice, I guarantee you it's probably Jaden Riddell with Ethan Barbour. All right. And you see what I'm doing here, guys. I'm Y'ing and I'm H'ing. We all see that?
Yes.
All right, I'm Y'ing and I'm H'ing. And then number 3 down here, just hanging out by himself this spring, getting in where he sees fit, Elias Williams. Okay, now Elias is an interesting case because I don't know if he's going to grow into a Y or if he's going to be an H. I don't know what he's going to be. I think he might be the best of both, right? We just got to make sure he continues to develop that way. But this is the guy right here, Ethan Barbour, that everyone's talking about. All right, I'm talking coaches, I'm talking boosters, I'm talking everybody. Everybody is talking about the way Ethan Barbour has attacked this spring. The word professional was used. Okay, I'm at Pro Day, and there's a coach walking by me, and I said, "What's up, coach? What's up?" Not a position coach, by the way. Hey, staffer. Hey, coach, what's going on? Immediately gets a phone call from Ethan Barbour. Ethan Barbour calling to ask questions about yesterday's practice. That's the type of football player, type of person that Ethan Barbour is, okay? A veteran or a veteran type mentality as a true freshman. I think he's going to be a superstar at the University of Georgia, an absolute baller. All right, that takes care of tight end. Obviously, Colton Heinrich not available this spring.
Just a quick question. I think one of the things that made Brock Bowers great, and yes, he's going to be the catalyst for every tight end that they compare him to from now on. He was great because of one of the reasons that he could be a Y and an H at the same time, and he could kind of play both roles. Is there anyone in that room that can even similarly do that? Or is it they kind of have their position?
I think ideally it'll be this guy, Elias. Right now, the closest thing they have to it is Lawson, in my opinion. And by the way, you saw them last year very early on getting him all the yards after catch types, H-back, arrows, all that good stuff. So that's the tight end room and a good look at it. I think it adds some great bodies in 2026 as well. Some really, really high-end football players. All right, that handles those guys. Let's talk about X as a whole. Actually, how should we do this?
I would just go wide receivers and list out the positions.
Just go X, Y, Z.
I'm doing it differently.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about slot first and foremost. Okay, slot's obvious. It's Zach Branch. Okay, and then after him, it's Zacoby White. Okay. Now, the real question is players like, where does Cole Spear fit in? Okay, we'll put him down at the bottom. Where does Landon Rolden fit in? We'll put him down at the bottom. Okay. Now, here's why I'm in conflict here. Because when we talk about the Z position at the University of Georgia, the last several years, it's been Ladd McConkey, Jermaine Burton, players like that. Okay, 6 foot, 185 pounds, can really do work after the catch. However, they've really only got one Z body type as a veteran right now, and it's London Humphreys. Okay, so if we were to do Z over here, it's London. All right, and then behind him right now immediately is Taylon Taylor. Okay, so we don't have a lot of Z body types, and because one of them decided he wanted to drive 107 on the loop. So we don't have a lot of Z's in the room right now. All right, but we got a shitload of X body types. Okay, you got Noah Thomas. Let's actually do this in order of what I think they are right now. Got Colby Young. Okay. Noah Thomas. All right, and CJ Wiley. All hanging out in that X body type room. Now, my question to you guys pre-show, and my question to the chat right now, and my question to Mike Bobo if he's listening. Are we a better off football team knowing that this guy's going to be on the field no matter what, Zach Branch? He's going to be our slot receiver. He's going to be our yards after catch type of weapon. Are we better off playing both of these guys and just being massive, playing Noah Thomas and Colby Young at the same time, and rotating whoever's not our X with London Humphreys at the Z? Or are we better off leaving one of these big body targets off the field and only rotating him at X and keeping London Humphreys on the field? You see what I'm saying? Because me personally, knowing who your quarterback is, I want as many deep threats converted to back shoulder balls as I can possibly get.
And I think we also kind of saw a version of this in the Sugar Bowl when Gunner started. Now, obviously, the wide receiver room had been depleted at that point. There were certain things that were going on, but you had Dylan Bell at the X, and it was Arian Smith at the Z, and it was a lot of, hey, let's see what we can make shake on deep balls. Like, obviously, Arian Smith was your deep ball guy. I don't remember them utilizing him at the X as much, or even the slot necessarily.
Plus, I would say that going the Colby Young and Noah Thomas route, and this was something that Kirby and I talked about on one of our shows, is that kind of fits the mold that Bobo had at his previous stint at Georgia, where it was like you had these two massive body wide receivers, and then you had whoever your slot guy was on top of your tight ends.
We're going to get in this very same discussion on the defensive side of the football because we've kind of accumulated a lot of one certain body type, and you haven't accumulated the other body type, right? Like we went from years on Georgia's roster where it looked like they had nothing but Z's to now having a roster where it's 3 6'4", 210-pounders that we got to find ways to get onto the football field. I forgot Dylan Bell here mixing in at both of these spots, I would imagine, X and Z, if we're going to play a traditional set. So there's that. All right, that's the wide receiver room as a whole. Let's go on to the offensive line room. Now, I'm going to play a little game here. This is called the Can You Guess Stacey Searles' Methods. All right, can you guess who is who? Let's start with the ideal depth chart. Everyone's healthy. And then we'll start Xing guys off on when they're not available. All right, MF. We know who that is?
Monroe Freeling.
That is Monroe Freeling. All right. Next to him on the board is MM. Who is that?
Micah Morris.
That is Micah Morris. Good job, guys. Next to him, we have DB. Who is DB?
Drew Bobo.
Drew Bobo. Next to him, we have DC. Who is that?
That is
Daniel Calhoun.
That is Daniel Calhoun. That is correct. Next to him on the board, we have EG. Who is that?
Ernest Green.
Ernest Green. That is correct. Now, Monroe Freeling. Not available this spring. Daniel Calhoun. No longer available this spring. We'll put an underline under Drew Bobo. He has hyperextended his knee. Expected to get back pretty soon. All right, on to the quote-unquote twos. All right, we have a JM. Does anybody know what JM stands for?
Jamal Merriweather.
Jamal Merriweather. Bingo, bango, bongo. All right, ME. Does anybody know what ME stands for?
That is Marquise Easley.
Marquise Easley, who is no longer available this spring due to temporary suspension or indefinite suspension, I should say. All right, MT. Do y'all know what that stands for?
Malachi Tolliver.
Malachi Tolliver. That is correct. MU. You might know that one? Michael Unai. You guys are on a roll. All right, we have two names right here. We have BH and we have ND. Do we know what those stand for?
Bo Hewley.
Oh, we're going to get them on ND, are we?
ND.
Come on, man. From up north, Bergen Catholic. 6'9", came in at 385 pounds. 6'7".
Nair Daniels.
Nair Daniels. That a boy. That a boy. All right, back here we got a little Y or a little JG.
That's Juan Gaston.
That is Juan Gaston, football brain. Juan. I called him Y for some reason. What an idiot.
It's YG.
Yeah, a little YG. Then we got MS. Anybody know what MS stands for? This
Mason Short.
That a boy. This one got me last night. CS. You know what that one is? Cortez Smith. MH. Do you know what that is? Another big ugly from up north. Marcus Harrison.
Yeah.
All right, and then Ja Jackson back here at the third string right tackle. Now, so here's what we got going on. This last spring scrimmage one, okay, Ja Jackson got an extended look at left tackle. All right, so he got in there to play. Ernest Green, should be noted, has a hornet's nest on a hand. He's got a club on one hand. He's got a broken pinky or something going on right there. Michael Unai has bumped up into that right guard spot with those ones. Okay, so he's the one taking reps there. I would imagine Malachi Tolliver has probably gotten an opportunity to play over the last couple of days with Drew Bobo icing a knee. All right, so there's that. Who have I heard good things about this spring? This guy right here, Juan Gaston, is going to be an absolute dude. All right, I would not be surprised if Juan Gaston at some point is in at an offensive guard position by the end of the year. All right, we play the best five if we have to.
Let me just say before we get too deep in this.
A lot deeper than you thought?
Not even that. I think you should just stick to initials when you're writing things because this is some of your best penmanship.
Some of my best work.
It is. But no, it would not surprise me if Juan Gaston is one of these ones because we've heard basically as soon as he got on campus, it's like this guy's flashed. And
I'll
say, and you kind of talked about how it's like they're going to come to him at some point and be like, hey, do you want to wait to play tackle? Or do you want to start now as a freshman and play some guard for us?
I think what looks better about this offensive line depth chart than maybe last year's spring offensive line depth chart is, if I remember correctly, like you knew the starting five for sure, and you knew that Monroe Freeling was floating around there because Xavier Truss was going to be a tackle, but then there was question marks everywhere. Like we didn't know anything about could Drew Bobo play center for you, and I know that there are still some question marks around here, but it doesn't feel like you're like, we have no idea what could happen here.
Obviously, a position that lost a lot of vocal leadership with Tate Ratledge walking out of the room. Micah Morris and Ernest Green have been the two players that I have heard about, hey, kind of leading the line of scrimmage, if you will, during scrimmages. So that's good news to hear from a unit that needed somebody to step up and be a guy. I think this one's going to be a guy, by the way. Monroe Freeling, I know there's some opinions on whatever you think he might be. I think Monroe Freeling is going to be a first-round draft pick when things are done. If everything is handled the right way moving forward, he's got tremendous talent and tremendous gifts. We're good on offensive line?
Yes.
Which means we are good on offense as a whole. How's